Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist, and this is Pilates Rehab Relax. So today I'm going to guide you through 7 exercises for your hip. They're aimed at people that might have things like osteoarthritis of their hip, where you're looking to improve the mobility, maybe there's some hip stiffness. So the first 4 exercises will be gentle hip stretches, and the last 3 exercises are going to be more targeted about trying to strengthen some of the muscles that help to support your hip. So go at your pace, work at what's right for you, and you might find one side's more irritable than the other, one side might be stiffer than the other. So again, you always respond to how you are, and I'll try and give you some guidance through. And don't forget, if you find today's session helpful, click the like button, leave a comment, and if you want to keep up to date with my latest content, then subscribe to the channel. But all of those things help me, it helps the channel to grow, and the great thing is they don't cost anything either for you. So have a go, see how you find it, and let's get started. So I'm going to do them on an exercise mat. I would suggest for you that it's probably a lot safer to do them laying on your bed, but for me, just for ease of demonstration, I'm using an exercise mat. I've got a towel, you might have a nice pillow to rest your head on. So the first exercise we're going to do is one called hip flexion. So if you lay yourself down on the mat, on your bed, and what I want you to do for this exercise, first of all, my knees are bent, my feet are flat on the bed, and what I'm going to do is draw the leg I'm going to stretch in towards me. And you've got a choice here. You can either support underneath the thigh, so I can give a stretch here, and you might well feel that deep into the hip joint there, or even in the bottom muscles. And the other way we can do this stretch is if you have the hand on front of the shin. So again, you can hold and add a stretch on there. What I would say is that if you've got any irritability of your knee, then you're better off to support under there, because you won't put so much pressure on the knee joint. But if you've got no problems there, then by all means you can have a stretch there on top of the shin bone. And I'm gently pulling in there, feeling that stretch in the hip itself. We hold for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to bring that leg back down again. And we do the same again. So wherever you choose to have your hands, either on the shin or on the thigh, you're going to gently hug inwards there, give a gentle bit of pressure. And by having the other knee bent and foot flat on the floor there, it just takes the strain off of the back a little bit. You can actually increase the intensity of the stretch by having the other leg straight and flat out there. But I would say go gently, and if you've got wear and tear and things, if you've got stiffness there, start gentle. You can always progress on these things. And that's so because it's a stretch, we did about 2 of them in a row, and we held for about 20-30 seconds or thereabouts. And that was the first exercise, which was hip flexion. So for the second movement we're going to do is a movement called abduction. So again, if I'm stretching this leg, what I'm going to do here is that movement of abduction is one of bringing the leg out and away. And again, if you're laying on a bed, you might even be able to let the heel hang over the edge of the bed a little bit. You might even use that resistance to hold that stretch a little bit there. So again, you should feel this on the inside of the thigh and a little bit in the hip itself. And we're going to hold this exercise. You can actually do it as a movement, just going back and forwards, but if we're holding it as a stretch, I'm going to hold and sustain that there. And try and relax into any stretch that you're doing. Remember to breathe. And then back in again. And the same again. So we keep the pelvis relatively level, bring that leg out to the side. We're going to just try and hold it there. So I've also recorded these stretches in seated as well. So if you don't get on with them in laying, then by all means you could have a go at doing them in seating instead. There we go. So that was 2 stretches into hip abduction. So the third movement we're going to do, we're going to need both of our feet flat on the mat, knees bent, and what I want you to try and do for me now is to walk those feet further away from each other. And when they're a nice gap apart from each other, what we're going to do, keeping the feet where they are, roll those knees in towards one another. So this is a movement we call medial rotation or internal rotation, and you should really feel that on the hip at this position here. So my knees are almost touching, and my feet are quite wide apart there with this stretch. And then relax again, and the same again. And hold and sustain that stretch, again, about 30 seconds. And you might even find that these are nice if you do them after you've popped some heat on the hip. You might have even wrapped a heat pack in a nice towel or something. Make sure you don't burn yourself, obviously, but doing something when it's warm, it can feel more comfortable as well. And then relax there. So that was that medial rotation or internal rotation. There's a rotation our hip does in the opposite direction. So if we walk those feet back into the middle again and do the opposite, so this time the feet will stay together and the knees drop apart. And again, you'll feel that stretch on the inside of the hip with this one. That movement's called lateral rotation or external rotation. And then back in again, and the same again. So we drop those knees out to the side. My heels stay together with this one. I'm trying to keep the back so it's pressed against, so don't arch up if you can avoid that. And again, relax into any stretch, hold for about 20-30 seconds, and then back up again. So that was our fourth stretch, so our lateral rotation. So now we're going to move on to doing some gentle strengthening exercises. The first of those, exercise number 5, is a bridge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to engage my tummy muscles, and then what I was trying to do is try and peel your bottom up off of the bed for me. So you might only go just a couple of millimeters off of the bed, and that's absolutely fine. As long as you can feel these muscles are working, that's fine. Because if you push really far with this, it can sometimes make your back sore. So work within what your abilities are, and then slowly let's bring ourselves back down again. So again, I draw my tummy muscles in, and I try and peel my bottom up off of the bed. And because we're trying to do a strengthening exercise now, we're trying to do 10 of those. So that was 2. We've got another 8 to do. And if you find 10's too many, just start with 5 to begin with and build up slowly. But let's keep on going. So that was 5. If you're going to do the full 10, keep on going. One more. There you go. So that was bridging. The next exercise we're going to do, we targeted more for the front of the thigh. And how I'm going to go about that is doing what we call a straight leg raise. So I'm going to keep the other knee bent throughout this exercise because it just takes the strain off of the back. Let's engage our core muscles a little bit, tense up your knee. And for some of you, this might be all you do. If the muscle's weak there, you might just focus on just tensing that muscle up, drawing those toes towards you and holding that position. But for the full straight leg raise, what we're going to try and do is try and maintain that nice straight knee and lift and hold for a few seconds And you can see it's just a few inches off of the bed there, and then back down again. So let's do 10 of those. That was 1. That's 2. 3. 'So that's the 5th one there. If you're only doing 5, stop there. But if you're going to do the full 10, let's keep on going. And you can feel it, can't you? It's surprising how much that works the leg. And one more. That's good. So that was a straight leg raise. That was our 6th exercise. We've got one more exercise to do now, and that's hip abduction again. So we did the abduction as a stretch, but there's a group of muscles at the top of the hip there that are really important. So I'm going to actually exercise the other leg just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to roll onto my side for this one, and what I'm looking to do, keeping that leg straight again, but this time I'm laying on my side, and I'm going to hold that position, keeping it lifted up there for a few seconds, and then back down again. So again, we'll do 10 of those if that's alright. So here we go. And this is very similar to some of the Pilates exercises that we've recorded elsewhere. So all of those things are really good for just trying to keep those legs moving, keep those muscles nice and strong that help to support us. You should feel this in the muscles around here. So there we go, that's the 5th one. So it might be some of you stop there, but the rest of you keep on going. We've only got a few more, and that's us done. And I could go higher with my leg, but I'm looking for control here. I just want to work those muscles. So this is a nice position. I'm keeping my pelvis level. I'm working those muscles. And actually having the leg just off of the floor requires more control, and it's actually got more work of gravity on it relative to it pointing up towards the ceiling. And there we go. So that was 7 exercises that you can do at home to help get your hip moving a bit more freely and to strengthen those muscles. If you prefer to do the stretches in seated, I've actually recorded a video of me doing the hip stretches in seated elsewhere, and I'll put a link up for that in just a moment. And if you were focusing more on strengthening your leg muscles, again, there's an exercise video with me doing knee exercise and laying, and there's a lot of overlap with some of those exercises. Or you might fancy trying some Pilates in standing or laying, because all of those things will be helpful. So hope it was of help. By all means, click the like button, leave me a comment, give us some feedback. And if you want to keep up to date with the videos I've got coming out, then you might even want to click the subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.